Hello everybody and welcome to my July 2014 video game pickups video, and I have 10 games to show you. The first one is on the Super Nintendo, and that game is Donkey Kong Country 2 Diddy Kong's Quest. Now I'm really happy to have this because finally I have every single game in the Donkey Kong Country trilogy on the Super Nintendo. And this game is no exception to the other two. It's a fantastic platformer. Many sort of hidden areas like bonuses, secrets, all that stuff, and just an absolute blast. I've only played it for a couple of hours, unfortunately, but yeah, so far I'm really enjoying it. I especially like Dixie Kong's sort of float hair sort of glide ability. It kind of reminds me of the princess's glide ability in Super Mario Bros. 2. It's kind of a little bit OP, but yeah, I think it's kind of amusing. So yeah, Donkey Kong Country 2, fantastic game. Glad to have it in my collection. Now you'd think that would be the most expensive game I bought, being a Super Nintendo game, but you'd actually be wrong. Although you would be half right, because the next game I have was my most expensive purchase for July, and it is a Nintendo game. Only it's on the Wii, and that is Calling. Now I've seen a lot of YouTubers play this one, and I was really interested in getting it, and I managed to find a decent price copy on eBay, just under £40, and yeah, I'm really liking it so far. It's kind of an on-rails sort of survival horror game of sorts. Or it's a little bit more free-forming than one of the other games I'm going to show you in a little bit later in this video. And yeah, it's based. You're in like this chat room, and it sort of gets a little bit weird, and various sort of events unfold, and it is generally quite creepy in places, and yeah, I'm really loving it so far. So yeah, Calling. Now the next three games are on PS2. I was in, I believe it was Braintree a couple of weeks back, and I was in the cash converters there, and I managed to find a couple of games. The two coming up were £1 each, but I managed to get this one for £3, and I'd say it's probably a bargain from what I've seen on eBay and other places, and that's Castlevania, or Castlevania Lament of Innocence, I believe it's the proper title. And yeah, I've been playing this for a couple of hours, going through the first world, getting a bit lost actually, but so far I'm really liking it. The music is fantastic, the gameplay is pretty solid. It's a Konami game, so there's a really long, well, there was a really long cutscene at the start of the game, which I thought was never going to end. And yeah, it's a really solid action game. I wouldn't say it's up there with the likes of the God of War series or the Onimusha series or Devil May Cry 1 or 3 or anything like that, but it's definitely in that next tier of action games, and it's a little bit more open than those titles, which are a little bit more linear. This one, you can pretty much go to any world you want and explore each one at your own pace. So yeah, and it's a really fantastic game. So from what I've played so far, anyway, and yeah, I can't wait to carry on with this and then pick up the sequel as well, because I know there's a sequel called Curse of Darkness, I think it's called. So I've been watching videos of that as well, and that looks pretty decent. So yeah, Castlevania. Next one I have is Peter Jackson's King Kong, the official game of the movie. This one I got for £1 in cash converters, and I haven't actually had a chance to play it, but I've heard surprisingly good things about it, despite it being a movie title. One of the sort of better-looking PS2 games during the end of like the sort of proper PS2 releases, and then like a lot of developers and publishers stopped releasing games for the PS2, at least on a regular basis anyway. So, but yeah, I look forward to giving this a shot. I've heard good things, so yeah, should be good. Next up, I have Burnout Revenge. This is also a pound, as my pile falls over. Hands for a moment. And this was a game I actually did buy when it first came out. And for whatever reason, I just never really got on with it. I think it was the crash mode, because I absolutely loved the crash modes in Burnout 2 and Burnout 3 Takedown. But in this one, it just didn't feel right to me, and I know it just felt a little bit fast as well for me. I mean, like the third one upped the intensity pretty high compared to the first two games. But this one almost went a little bit too high intensely for my liking. But it is a really good game. I know it is a good game from other people's experiences. But I don't know. It was just one of those ones that just didn't sit right with me at the time. But yeah, I'm willing to give it another go. So yeah, Burnout Revenge. Next up, we have an expansion of a pretty good game of the last couple of years, and that is Xcom Enemy Within, and this is the Commander Edition. Now, I did actually have XCOM Enemy Unknown on the Xbox 360. I absolutely loved it. I was really looking forward to it because I actually played the original XCOM game on both the original PlayStation and the PC a few years back, and I was really hyped up for XCOM Enemy Unknown, and it didn't disappoint apart from the beginner's trap, as I call it, where if you play the tutorial, you lose a lot of the advantages compared to those who don't play the tutorial. Like, you lose a lot of people, and that has an effect on your sort of rating early on, which is kind of bullshit, really, in my opinion. But oh well. And but yeah, this one has like new armor upgrades and weapons and stuff like that, and I think new enemy types as well. I'm not quite sure, but yeah, I haven't actually played this version as of yet, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to it because I absolutely loved Enemy Unknown. So I thought Fire Access did a fantastic job with the reboot. Next up is another Wii game. It's actually kind of similar to Calling, and this is another one that I've been wanting to get off my list of most wanted games, and that is Duel the Grudge, a fight simulator. Now this one is a lot more on rails compared to Calling, but it's still entertaining for what it is. It has this sort of panic gauge, so to speak, where depending on how you react to the things going on around you in the game, the actual game at the end of each level will give you a rating on like how much of a wuss you were or whatever. But yeah, it's pretty good so far. I've heard it's quite short, but that's okay. I don't mind. I don't mind that, as long as the game's entertaining. I don't mind about the length. And yeah, really looking forward to playing more of that. Next up, we have Driver Parallel Lines. I got this at CEX for about £2.50, £3, and I'd say it's pretty good compared to Driver 3, which was absolutely fucking terrible. This game at least sort of righted some of the wrongs from that game. It's definitely not as good as San Francisco, which is absolute perfection to me. I recommend that. I couldn't recommend that higher enough to anyone who hasn't played that. But this one is decent, but not amazing, so to speak. So it's actually set in I believe it's set in the 60s or 70s, and it's got a very Starsky and Hutch feel to it in the cutscenes and the presentation. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. Next up we have the Red Star, which is actually primarily a co-op game, but it's kind of a mix between a scrolling beat 'em up like Streets of Rage or Final Fight, but also a shmup like Ikaruga, for example. And it sort of blends together, and it feels just a really nice sort of mixture of gameplay. Unfortunately, I don't have anyone else to play it with in like local co-op, but from my experiences so far, I'm enjoying the single player nonetheless. But I feel that this game would be better with someone else to play with. But yeah, I bought this anyway just because just in case someone might want to play it with me one day. And finally, on the PS3, I have bought the original Dead Space. Now this is a game I do have a lot of experiences with. It holds a special place in my heart as well because for a long time I did like avoid a lot of survival horror games, but then I played this one, and despite me being an absolute pussy at certain points, especially in chapter 5 and 10. If you played this game, you know the parts I'm talking about, especially with one particular enemy from those chapters. Yeah, I had an absolute blast playing it. I played it at least 2 or 3 times. The 360 version, that is, and going back to it now, I actually kind of prefer the PS3 version because I don't know if it's because the TV I'm using right now, but the sound and the just the general atmosphere just feels a lot better to me for some reason. But yeah, Dead Space, one of my favourite games of the last generation, and I'm definitely looking to get the sequel, Dead Space 2, on the PS3 as well at some point. Not sure when that will be, but hopefully in the near future. So, but yeah, Dead Space, fantastic game. Alright, and that is it for my July 2014 video game pickups. I hope you enjoyed it, and stay tuned for more videos in the near future. Until that day, take care everyone. Bye bye.